Good morning, students. Let us proceed with our text, and I will just share the screen with you so that you can look at the text. So this is The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, and last time we had proceeded up to this, how Lady Bracknell was asking Algernon to be present in the dinner party. And when Algernon says that actually he would not be able to be present in her dinner party because his friend Bunbury is very ill again. So obviously, uh, that's a figment of his imagination. He has created this character called Bunbury to get away from town. So Lady Bracknell feels a bit suspicious, and she says here, "It is very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health." Uh, yes, Algernon says, "Poor Bunbury is a dreadful invalid. So he occasionally falls sick, and it is really a sad thing that uh, kind of a frighteningly he becomes sick." Lady Bracknell says, "Well, I must say, Algernon, that I think it is high time that Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he was going to live or to die." So here, uh, Lady Bracknell has lost all patience with this character called Bunbury, who is falling sick at regular intervals, and she expresses the opinion that he should make up his mind whether he would continue to live or die, because there's no point in living when you are getting sick so regularly. This shilly-shallying with the question is absurd. So shilly-shallying is obviously a kind of an indecisive behavior, not being able to make up one's mind. Uh, and she goes on to say, "Nor do I in any way approve of the modern sympathy with invalids." So she's saying that actually the morbid, this word means a kind of an abnormal and unhealthy interest in some unpleasant subjects like death or disease. So this Bunbury, occasionally he falls sick, he is down with some kind of disease, and Lady Bracknell does not approve of this, and she is obviously not very comfortable with this modern sympathy with, as she says, uh, concern with invalids. Now, this particular, concept or idea was used by Oscar Wilde in his novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, and also in his play, A Woman of No Importance. And there we find how uh, in the picture of Dorian Gray, for example, we find there's a character called uh, Wotton, Wotton, who proclaims himself unable to sympathize with suffering. And he says, quote, "It is too ugly, too horrible, too distressing. There is something terribly morbid in the modern sympathy with pain," unquote. So these sentiments are again, you know, echoed by Oscar Wilde, and Lady Bracknell says this. "I consider it morbid, so a kind of an unnatural occupation with such uh, concepts as disease or death. Illness of any kind is hardly a thing to be encouraged in others." So she is, in a way, indirectly accusing Algernon that you are, in a way, you are encouraging Bunbury to be to become ill. You are always at his beck and call. Whenever you hear that he is sick, you run to the countryside and you attend to him. Health is the primary duty of life. I am always I am always telling that to your poor uncle, but he never seems to take much notice. So obviously, health is the primary thing to be, the primary duty of life. To be healthy is the most important thing. And uh, here, Lady Bracknell, obviously, she's quite authoritative in her attitude, as you can understand. She's a very authoritative lady, and she feels she doesn't want to enter into any kind of debate, but she's saying that I have always been telling this to your poor uncle, but he doesn't listen to me. As far as any improvement in his ailment goes, I should be much obliged if you would ask Mr. Bunbury from me to be kind enough not to have a relapse on Saturday, for I rely on you to arrange my music for me. So you should ask Mr. Bunbury to remain healthy, not to fall sick on Saturday, because that's a day when she would be needing Algernon. And obviously, she doesn't want Algernon to be away. And here, relapse, of course, means a kind of a deterioration in health after a temporary improvement. Bunbury, when he gets well, he doesn't remain in a healthy state for long. He relapses into this, sickness. So that's a problem. And if when Bunbury he falls sick, immediately Algernon rushes to the countryside to attend to him. It is my last reception, and one wants something that will encourage conversation, particularly at the end of the season when everyone has practically said whatever they had to say, which in most cases was probably not much. So, why does she want Algernon to be present? Because that's kind of the end of the season and the last party that she is going to, last reception or last party that she is going to hold. That is why she is, you know, she is interested that Algernon should be present in this party, and that is why Lady Bracknell expressly sort of she wants uh, Algernon to be present. Sorry. Now Algernon, he says, I'll speak to Bunbury, Aunt Augusta, if he is still conscious, and I think I can promise you he will be all right by Saturday. So he assures his aunt that he will talk to Bunbury so that he will recover by Saturday. Of course, the music is a great difficulty. You see, if one plays good music, people don't listen, and if one plays bad music, people don't talk. So here, obviously, you can see that again Algernon is, in a way, he is being facetious. He always talks in this way, and he says that it's a great difficulty about this music, arrangement of music. If one provides good music, people do not listen to it. So people are not capable of appreciating good music. That's why he doesn't really care to supply good music. And next he says, and if one plays bad music, people don't talk. So the joke of musicians who found their music drowned by conversation. It occurs frequently in the magazine Punch. It was a famous magazine, capital Punch, and it was published in the 1890s when this play had been enacted and it was published. So Algernon is, of course, saying this, that if you uh, one plays bad music, people don't talk. So obviously, good music is not appreciated, and bad music, it people just keep listening. Thank you, Algernon. It is very thoughtful of you, rising and following Algernon. I'm sure the program will be delightful after a few expurgations. So, expurgations obviously it means some omissions. French songs I cannot possibly allow. So, Lady Bracknell does not approve of French songs, which were perhaps a bit uh, kind of popular during those times. People always seem to think that they are improper and either look shocked, which is vulgar, or laugh, which is worse. So, this is the reason why Lady Bracknell would not allow French songs, because people do not uh, approve of the French songs. They think that French songs should not be played in a party, in a respectable place where people had assembled, and they are shocked. And sometimes they laugh, which is worse. So, but German sounds a thoroughly respectable language, and indeed, I believe is so. Gwendolen, you will accompany me. So, now that she has expressed her opinion on music and uh, people being sick and all that, she now decides to go. So here, of course, you can see Lady Bracknell's character is sort of portrayed here by the dramatist. She is obviously a person, an individual who has very strong opinions. And you can see that in what she says to Algernon. And she is quite happy that Algernon will arrange the music. So she considers German to be a more, you know, a better language, and German songs are better rather than French songs. So Gwendolen says, "Certainly, Mama." So Lady Bracknell and Algernon go into the music room. Gwendolen remains behind. Now Jack comes in. Jack comes in. Uh, just one moment. Now, as you can see here, Jack now comes in, and he says to her, that is to Gwendolen, "Charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax." So he wants to start a conversation with Gwendolen. Um Now, Gwendolen, she replies, "Pray don't talk to me about the weather, Mr. Worthing. Whenever people talk to me about the weather, I always feel quite certain that they mean something else, and that makes me so nervous." So, Gwendolen has this experience that people start by mentioning the weather, talking about the weather, but actually they do not want to continue about the weather. So they have some other kind of intentions, and that is why she is saying to Jack Worthing that please do not talk to me about the weather, because I have had this experience that uh, you're going to, you have the intention of saying something else to me, and that makes me so nervous. So I do not feel very comfortable. So Jack, when he hears this, he says, I do mean something else. So actually, he, uh, of course, he's trying to start the conversation by talking about the weather. I thought so. In fact, I am never wrong. So obviously, you can see that Gwendolyn, she is somewhat like her mother, like Lady Bracknell herself, who always has a kind of an opinion, a strong opinion on almost every subject. And Gwendolyn is somewhat like that. She also considers herself to be, always right. And I would like to be allowed, Jack is saying, to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence. So now Jack has something to say to her. Actually, I want to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's absence, and I want to say something to you. So he is preparing his speech. I would certainly advise you to do so. Now, Gwendolyn is not averse to Jack's whatever he has to say, not averse to listening to Jack. Mama has a way of coming back suddenly into a room that I have often had to speak to her about. So, Lady Bracknell has this habit of appearing suddenly into the room. Now, Jack feels a bit nervous. Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any girl I have ever met since I met you. So he is feeling nervous. He's rather uncomfortable with, he wants to say, obviously, he wants to express himself, but somehow or the other, his words get jumbled up. So he is saying this, that I have always admired you more than any other girl. Uh, yes, I am quite well aware of the fact. So Gwendolyn is quite calm and composed, and she says, yes, I know that. I know about your feelings, and I often wish that in public, at any rate, you had been more demonstrative. So Gwendolyn is sort of a kind of a reproach. This can be taken as a kind of a reproach that you should have been, she's telling Jack, more active. Sort of, you should have said this to me in a public place. For me, you have always had an irresistible fascination. So you are a charming person. Even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you. So uh, Gwendolyn is also uh, sort of interested in Jack. Now, Jack looks at her in amazement. So, he didn't know this. He was not at all aware of this, that Gwendolyn also likes him. So, we live, as I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in an age of ideals. So, here uh, Gwendolyn goes on somewhat in the like her mother, as her mother has sort of delivered the speech to Algernon. Now, Gwendolyn, when she gets the opportunity, she goes on talking about her feelings and all that. So, and she's saying that we live in an age of ideals. I hope you know. Uh, the fact is constantly mentioned in the more expensive monthly magazines and has reached the provincial pulpits. So now she refers to the fact that uh, it's a kind of a we can find that Gwendolyn's nature, this speech, it in a way reveals her nature or character, and Jack obviously feels very surprised. So it is generally assumed that women should not be so forward in their courtship and all that, but Gwendolyn is not like that. So she is certainly more demonstrative, as she said uh, to Jack, than Jack himself. And now she goes on expressing her opinion. I am told, and my ideal has always been to love someone of the name of Ernest. So this is a kind of a ridiculous thing, but and a quite a uh, strange thing, that she had always wanted to love someone who had the name Ernest. And Jack, of course, as you know, he has taken on this name. There is something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. So Gwendolyn feels that this name actually it is going to be a kind of a name that would inspire confidence in anyone, at least in her uh, her own self. So it is a strange thing, but she says that she is ready to love a man who has the name Ernest. And she's not exactly, it seems, not in love with the individual or the man himself, but with the name. And that is what she's mentioning here. Uh, Next, she goes on. The moment Algernon first mentioned to me that he had a friend called Ernest, I knew I was destined to love you. So, obviously, you can find something really ridiculous, very humorous here, that she had already felt this, you know, had decided beforehand that she would love a person who had the name Ernest. And Algernon had mentioned that he had a friend called Ernest, and she had already decided that this was the person whom she would love. Now, Jack is extremely surprised to hear all these, you know, all these talk. You really love me, Gwendolyn? So he is trying to make sure passionately. So obviously, now that she knows that Jack has the name Ernest, she loves him passionately. So again, this kind of an ironical situation where the girl is in love with not with the person but with the name of that person. Darling, you don't know how happy you have made me. So obviously, Jack is also very happy. My own Ernest. So you can see the kind of ridiculous courtship that goes on here. And it goes on like this. But you don't really mean to say that you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Ernest. But your name is Ernest. So Jack actually feels a bit afraid. So he wants to, he asks this question, but Gwendolyn is quite sure that uh, your name is Ernest. Yes, I know it is, but supposing it was something else. Do you mean to say you couldn't love me then? So this is a question that comes to his mind, that if his name was not Ernest, then what would have happened? Then he feels a bit doubtful, glibly. So she just goes on in a smooth way. Ah, that is clearly a metaphysical speculation, and like most metaphysical speculations, has very little reference at all to the actual facts of real life as we know them. So Gwendolyn is very matter of fact here. She says that, well, That's a metaphysical speculation. And now, uh, pure speculation, that those are based on pure speculation. So, not based on reality, and but they are only based on imagination. So, you are just imagining things. Your name is Ernest, and I know that your name is Ernest, and that is why I love you. So, there's no point in thinking about imaginary things. So, obviously, the actual facts of real life, that's not connected to the actual facts of real life. So why should we think about that? Personally, dear darling, to speak quite candidly, I don't much care about the name of Ernest. I don't think the name suits me at all. Now Jack is a bit disturbed because obviously he has taken on this name. Now he says that he wants to give a hint or two. So he says that actually I don't like this name. I don't care about this name, Ernest. It doesn't suit me. It suits you perfectly. It is a divine name. It has a music of its own. It produces vibrations. So just look at the way Gwendolyn goes on and on. She is really in love with this name. Somehow or the other, uh, she loves this name. It has a music of its own. There's a musical lilt, a kind of a wonderful vibration that is there, Ernest. So the name is really something that she likes or loves. Uh, well, really, Gwendolyn, I must say that I think there are lots of other much nicer names. So Jack is a bit taken aback by her, infatuation with this name. I think Jack, for instance, a charming name. Now he wants to reveal his own name, so he says that, well, Jack, it's a very good name, a charming name. Jack, no, there is very little music in the name Jack, if any at all, indeed. So Gwendolyn does not approve of this name at all. Jack compared to Ernest, that's really an inferior kind of a name. It does not thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations. So obviously, Jack is a name that for her, it would not produce any kind of vibration or any kind of musical feelings at all. I have known several Jacks, and they all, without exception, were more than usually plain. So she has met certain people who were called Jack, and all those Jacks, they were very plain, ordinary kind of men, and she didn't find any, music or any vibration or anything interesting in them. Besides, Jack is a notorious domesticity for John, so that's a kind of a a nickname kind of a, so it is a domesticity here, obviously notorious domesticity. It means a very common pet name, so a kind of a nickname that people are called by in their homes by their parents or by their brothers or sisters and by their close friends. So it's a real not at all a good name. And I pity any woman who is married to a man called John. So from John and Jack to Jack, she is really not approving of these names. She would probably never be allowed to know the entrancing pleasure of a single moment's solitude. The only really safe name is Ernest. So she sticks on to that. Gwendolyn says that, well, the only safe name is Ernest, and that can be fully trusted by any woman. So uh, a woman can only trust a man if her husband's name is Ernest, not Jack or John or any such other name. So you can see here how she is almost possessed, kind of engrossed with this name, and it shows a kind of a peculiar trait in Gwendolyn's character, and the fact that she does not consider the man, uh, his qualities or his looks or his, what he earns or what job he does, but she's only concerned with this name, Ernest. So, the importance of being earnest, the title of this play, you can just understand the name Ernest is so important to Gwendolen. Gwendolen, I must get christened at once. Now, Jack feels a bit afraid. I mean, we must get married at once. There is no time to be lost. So, Jack doesn't want to lose any time. Now, he at first says, I must get christened at once. So, actually, he wants to be christened Ernest since he finds that Gwendolen is obsessed with this name. Now, christened, of course, it's a name given in a ceremony called baptism in Christianity, as you know, and children are christened. They are given names at birth, but Jack desires to be christened as Ernest because he finds that Gwendolen is in love with this name and not his own person. Married, Mr. Worthing. So Gwendolen is a bit surprised, astounded. Well, surely you know that I love you, and you led me to believe, Miss Fairfax, that you were not absolutely indifferent to me. So now Jack feels a bit taken aback. I adore you, but you haven't proposed to me yet. Nothing has been said at all about marriage. The subject has not even been touched on. So Gwendolen is very proper about these things. That man should propose to the woman that whom he wishes to marry. So you have not proposed to me. So suddenly you are talking about marriage, and that is a bit surprising because we have not been discussing about marriage but only about this name Ernest. Well, may I propose to you now? So Jack finds that this is the perhaps the right time. I think it would be an admirable opportunity. So Gwendolen finds this kind of a good opportunity because her mother is not present here. So yes, obviously you can do so. Uh, and to spare you any possible disappointment, Mr. Worthing, I think it only fair to tell you quite frankly beforehand that I am fully determined to accept you. So before he has proposed to her, it is a real surprise for Jack, as you can see by the way he uh, says Gwendolen. So he is extremely surprised at her, uh, forwardness, you can say, that even before he has proposed to her, she is ready to accept him. So it's another very humorous situation here. Uh, Next, yes, Mr. Warding, what have you got to say to me? You know what I have got to say to you. So they go on talking like this. Yes, but you don't say it. Gwendolen, will you marry me? Goes on his knees. Of course I will, darling. How long you have been about it? I am afraid you have had very little experience in how to propose. So now, at last, Jack proposes to Gwendolen, and she immediately uh, approves and says, obviously, I am going to marry you, and you have been really long in proposing. So you must be a bit unfamiliar with these things. You do not have the experience. So you have not proposed to many women, she wants to say. My own one. I have never loved anyone in the world but you. So Jack is full of emotion. Yes, but men often propose for practice. So this is another kind of a funny situation or a funny idea that men often propose for practice. I know my brother Gerald does. All my girlfriends tell me so. What wonderfully blue eyes you have, Ernest. They are quite blue. I hope you will always look at me just like that, especially when there are other people present. So she loves the blue eyes of Jack, and she is, of course, she thinks his name is Ernest, and she addresses him as Ernest. And you can see here this her opinion about how men often propose for practice, and that is why she believed that, and therefore she told Jack that you did not have experience in proposing to women. So now, just when they were about to have a conversation, enter Lady Bracknell. So Lady Bracknell comes in. Mr. Worthing, rise, sir, from the semi-recumbent posture. It is most indecorous. Now, Jack is actually in that kneeling position, uh, and Lady Bracknell, when she comes in, she she sees Jack in that kneeling position. Uh, Indecorous, that is indecent or disgraceful. So, Mama, he tries to rise. She restrains him. I must beg you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Warding has not quite finished yet. So, Gwendolen does not want her mama to be present now. So, she asks her to go away. Finished what, may I ask? I am engaged to Mr. Warding, Mama. They rise together. Pardon me, you are not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged to someone, I, or your father, should his health permit him, will inform you of the fact. An engagement should come on a young girl as a surprise, pleasant or unpleasant, as the case may be. So Lady Bracknell is severe on her daughter when she comes to hear about this fact that she she has become engaged with Jack, or Ernest as she believes him to be. He says that no, you are not engaged to anyone. So obviously it should be uh, announced by either of the parents. And here she mentions that if your father is well, he would do so, but otherwise I will inform you. And an engagement should come as a surprise. It should not happen like this. And this is, of course, an amusing statement, uh, that it should come as a kind of a pleasant thing or an unpleasant thing. Generally, an engagement is a pleasant thing, but Lady Bracknell has other opinions, whatever the case may be. It is hardly a matter that she could be allowed to arrange for herself. So she does not approve of this fact that a young woman should arrange for her own engagement. And now I have a few questions to put to you, Mr. Worthing. While I am making these inquiries, you, Gwendolen, will wait for me below in the carriage. So now that she has come to know about this engagement, she of course does not approve of this, and she wants to question Jack. And she wants her daughter not to be present when she is making the inquiries. Reproachfully, so Gwendolen is very much sad. Mama, so she doesn't like this. In the carriage, Gwendolen goes to the door. She is authoritative, as you can see here, just directs or orders her daughter to go to the carriage and wait for her. She and Jack blow kisses to each other behind Lady Bracknell's back. Lady Bracknell looks vaguely about as if she could not understand what the noise was. Finally turns round. Gwendolen, the carriage. So she finds Gwendolen still standing there, and that is why she did not, of course, see those kisses that were blown to each other by Jack and Gwendolen. Yes, Mama goes out, looking back at Jack. Sitting down, you can take a seat, Mr. Warding. Looks in her pocket for notebook and pencil. So she is totally prepared to, interview Jack. So she will write down his answers. She has got this notebook and pencil. Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing. So he doesn't want to Sit down. I want to stand. Pencil and notebook in hand, I feel bound to tell you that you are not down on my list of eligible young men. So she begins the conversation by saying to Jack that I am, of course, I want to tell you that I am compelled to tell you that you are not in my list of eligible young men for my daughter. Although I have the same list as the dear Duchess of Bolton has. So in her list, there is actually it is similar to the Duchess of Bolton, and she is looking for a husband for her daughter. But your name is not in that. So of course, then she goes on. We work together, in fact. However, I am quite ready to enter your name should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke? So, these are some of the questions that Lady Bracknell she's going to ask Jack. The first question, of course, before asking the question, she tells him that if you answer correctly, if I get the correct answers, because I'm a very affectionate mother to Gwendolyn, so obviously I would consider you as a candidate for my daughter. Do you smoke? Well, yes, I must admit I smoke. So he says that he smoke. I am glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle men in London as it is. How old are you? So again, a kind of a humorous, funny statement that a man should have an occupation, and smoking is an occupation. So Lady Bracknell considers smoking to be an occupation. So it's kind of an incongruous remark. And she said it is quite impossible to find a man who knows everything or nothing. So how old are you? 29, Jack says. A very good age to be married at. I have always been of opinion that a man who desires to get married should know either everything or nothing. Which do you know? So either he should know everything or he should know nothing. So again, a funny remark, because it is quite impossible to find a man who knows everything or nothing. After some hesitation, now Jack hesitates before answering. I know nothing, Lady Bracknell. I am pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. So she is quite happy with that. Uh, Tampers with means to meddle with or interfere with. So a kind of quality of natural ignorance is very good. And she goes on now. Ignorance is like a delicate exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom is gone. So if you touch that ignorance, then it is gone. And it is rarely found. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Now she goes on talks about the education. If it did, fortunately in England, at any rate, education produces no effect whatsoever. So she does not approve of the education system of her own country. If it did, it would prove a serious danger to the upper classes and probably lead to acts of violence in Grosvenor Square. So uh, she is of the opinion that if the education system functioned, it had a kind of effect, then the upper classes would become more educated, and as she says, uh, it would, as we know that education is expected to refine and civilize people, but Lady Bracknell thinks that it would incite the upper classes to acts of violence. So here, as you can see, Lady Bracknell's opinion about education is not at all in a, it's not normal, or she holds this opinion which is a bit different from what uh, people generally think about education and the effects of education. So the upper classes would become violent. So a kind of a, it would pose a serious danger. Between 7 and 8,000 a year. And now she asks, what is your income? Between 7 and 8,000 a year. Makes a note in her book, in land or in investments. In investments, chiefly. That is satisfactory. What between the duties expected of one during one's lifetime and the duties exacted from one after one's death, land has ceased to be either a profit or a pleasure. So she says that nowadays, uh, actually, she does not rather approve of these things about these having land, because she says that land is no longer a source of either pleasure or profit during a person's lifetime, and the landowner is required to pay taxes on his land, and when he dies, some more taxes has to be paid on the same land. So it is not a profit and not a pleasure. It gives one position and prevents one from keeping it up. So as a landowner, you get a kind of a position. You say to others, or people see that you have in your possession some quantity of land, but you cannot keep it up. That's all that can be said about land. So she is uh, glad that Jack has his income from investments and not from land. So, as you can see, Lady Bracknell is a person who has, opinions about everything. So, I will just stop here today, and I will continue uh, in the next class. So I hope that you have understood, or you have followed the whatever I was the portion that I have done with you. So let me then conclude this class.